outside of athletics, find 3 to 5 things that you like that aren't related to sports. What do I really like to do? What really just makes me happy? The HBCUs, they really look out for us and they give you opportunities, but you have to meet them in the middle and they're not just going to do everything for you. Only thing I'm scared for really just like paying bills, because that just, inflation, I don't want to deal with that.
I don't think anybody wants to pay bills, girl.
Being an athlete is fun because everyone, they know you and they support you and like they really go hard for you. So just put yourself out there, advocate for yourself and what you're passionate about, and people will in return support you and want to help you reach that goal. If something doesn't feel right for you, get out of there. If something goes against your morals, your values, then it's not where you should be. When you see an issue, really dig deep and try to see how you can solve it or be the change that you want to see.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Echoes of the Yard. I'm your host, Kendyl Terrell, a soccer player at Jackson State University, and this podcast is your source for all things HBCU. From the guests to the topics, the good and the bad, we're here to talk about it all. For the 7th episode, I'm joined by Mimi Harris, a volleyball player at Albany State. We've got so much to talk about, but say hey, introduce yourself a little bit. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Hey everyone, so my name is Mimi Harris. I currently am a rising junior at Albany State University, and I'm a setter on the women's volleyball team. And I come from Phoenix, Arizona, so pretty far from school. Yes, pretty far from school. And I'm majoring in exercise science, and I'm minoring in psychology. And with that, I want to go into physical therapy and sports psychology, and really just work on athletes who look like me. Allow them to know that if you don't have the resources or transportation, things like that, to get to get the help you need, that it's still attainable, it's still accessible, and that people still listen to you, they hear you, they see you, and they want to help you regardless of what you have going on. So
I love that because I just graduated my bachelor's in psychology, and I'm getting
congrats.
Thank you. I'm getting my master's in sports management, so I want to be a sports psychologist. So that's crazy you say that, because that's my aspiration in life for sure.
Yes, and there's only like 3. I might be wrong, but I know it's a very low percentage of sports psychologists, and then even lower of women, and then it's even smaller of Black women in the field. So they definitely need us there. So
I love that. So why did you start playing volleyball? I'm so curious.
Well, to go back a little bit further, I did a lot when I was younger. So I was a dancer. I did all types like lyrical, liturgical, jazz, ballet, tap, hip hop, acrobatics. Wow. I did gymnastics. I did cheer, and I also played volleyball as well. So I did all of these at the same time in middle school, and that's very costly. So I got older. My mom was like, "You need to pick one. You need to tell me like, okay, which one?" Yeah, she was like, "You need to tell me like which one you want to take seriously, because when you get into middle school and high school, like." The money it's too much money to play all those things. And plus, you just don't have time for it either. So my mom actually played volleyball in college. She was a Hall of Famer she is, still a Hall of Famer at Howard University. Okay. And she played setter as well, setter and outside. So I was like, well, you know what? She played volleyball. Why don't I just choose that one? So that was really the only reason I chose it, was because she played it. And I've always tried to do everything to be like her. So I probably would have chose dance or something else if she did that. So that was really my sole reason. I just grew up loving it and took me to college. So
I love that. So when did you realize you wanted to pursue it in college? Like, when was the moment you were like, wait, nah, I want to go to school for this. I want to go to the next level.
I think probably around freshman or sophomore year, just when I was getting older and starting to see okay, I need to take these classes for college. And then I was like, okay, I'm just really starting to get into the college prep as a whole. And then I'm like, okay, wait, in addition to school, I can still be an athlete. It doesn't have to stop after high school. And then I just loved being an athlete in high school. It was just so much fun getting with your teammates, meeting new people. Those are some of the best bonds that you make, also just being on the court or the field. So I would say freshman or sophomore years when I really started to say to myself, okay, I want to do this past high school.
I love that. So what was that transition like from high school to college? What was that transition from going to such a area, you knew people probably knew you, and then you went to unknown territory? How was that for you?
I'm a very transparent person, so it wasn't the easiest. Not gonna lie. I'm an only child as well, so I was just.
Oh my gosh, no!
So I was just used to being in the house with just my mom and I all day. Come home from school, come home from practice. It's just her and I. So now I go back to my dorm and it's just my teammates. So that was really hard for me at first, and Like, I cried a few times, not every day, but just a few times throughout
And
that
that's
first fall
okay. That is
semester.
so okay.
And like it really hit me the hardest when she left me after moving, and like I saw her rental car driving away. I was like, oof, getting real. So, but the transition was really hard. But I think it helped being an athlete because you have that family away from home and you have people
Yes.
that you come in already knowing. Like, we have our little group chats, like getting to know each other before the actual season starts and before everyone flies or drives in. So that was really helpful just because like I knew people coming in, and then I also knew a couple people just from previous programs that I've done regarding school. So
Yeah.
I knew them, and then I'm just a very social person. So like I had to grow into that like as I grew up in college, but it was pretty easy for me to make friends and just walk outside, say hi to someone, like okay, let's go to the caf. Now we're
I
friends,
love
like
that.
so or like
Yeah.
go to class, just stay after, talk to someone, and just make a friend that way. So.
Okay, so how was your journey to Albany State though? Like, how did you get there?
So I actually started at Alabama State my freshman year, and
Really?
yes, I committed to play volleyball there. So yes, we were in the swag together for a
Okay, because
year.
I was
Didn't even know
gonna say, wait,
it.
you was in my territory. Hold on.
Yeah, so I started there, and it just wasn't the fit for me, athletically or academically. So I went into the transfer portal. But I had redshirted that year because I hurt my shoulder, so like I didn't have any film to go off of. So it was like the only schools that I was looking at were people who already knew how I played from high school and club. So when I transferred, I looked at Albany State because they wanted me initially coming out of high school, and it was like 3 hours away from Alabama State. So I was like, okay, we can just drive down, catch a game, see how they play, talk to the coaches, and just get the whole feel for that. And then I liked it, and um, it wasn't that much for me to go there. So I was like, it's like seems like a pretty good win-win. And I actually have some people from my high school that go there all the way from Arizona. So I'm not the only one out there. There's like three
Oh,
or
that's
four of us.
good.
So yeah, that was really shocking to me. But I just really liked the curriculum that they had for my major because at Alabama State it was more so like just taking classes to be able to get into the
Be
graduate program
eligible.
there.
Yeah.
And it was like if you don't go straight into grad school, well, I have this degree that I can't really do anything with. Versus going to Albany State, if I graduate and don't go straight into grad school, it's like okay, I can work for a year, I have something to fall back on, and not just have a piece of paper that just says, oh, I took classes to be able to graduate, so
Yeah.
along with the athletics, excuse me, like that was just another thing for me. The team has a very great record. They have a good team dynamic. The coaches really care about you. The faculty members really care about you, and just the school in general. Even though it is in a smaller city, you can make the most of what you're given. And since most HBCUs are in a smaller city, it's like, okay, you don't really have too much to choose from when it comes to
Yeah.
HBCU and their cities. So, and it was I feel like being in a smaller school, I get to know everybody, and just that was a really good transition for me from Alabama State to Albany State. That was a better transition than my previous year, just because I had more college experience and I just knew how to make the best of any situation that I was given. So I had a different mindset coming into this year.
So would you have said like Alabama State was like kind of toxic to like your mental and stuff like that? Because like if it was, I like what advice would you give people who like want to get out of a toxic environment?
It was toxic in an athletic sense and not more so in an academic sense. And the advice that I would give to someone is, especially from personal experience, what my family and friends told me and what I just wish I would have listened to sooner. Because, like, when you're in an environment, sometimes it's hard to come back to your senses and just know what's
Yeah.
right and wrong. So, excuse me, my mom always told me like just if something doesn't feel right for you, get out of there. If something goes against your morals, your values, then it's not where you should be. If you don't feel like you can thrive for 3 or 4 more years of eligibility in there, then leave. If you don't feel like you can be your most authentic self, if you don't feel like you're growing every day, just if you don't feel like the people around you are really trying to uplift you and just really help you grow into the person that you're supposed to be following after college, and it's not somewhere you should be. Like there's a
Yeah.
difference between someone giving you criticism with love behind it and someone just bashing you all day, or someone just telling you you're not worthy, things like that. Like there's a sometimes a really fine line, but it's still a very clear difference of what it is. And
Yeah.
sometimes when you're getting close to that line, it's hard to see like, okay, well maybe they're just saying this and they just sound like they have a rough tone because they're really trying to get me to understand versus no,
Mhm.
that's just the person they are, and they're giving it to you that way because that's how they talk to everyone, and that's like they don't really care about your feelings. So
Yeah, so you're really big into the academics. I definitely, I had to stalk you a little bit, like 6A all
thank you,
academic team, honorable
thank
mention with
you,
a 3.7 GPA, National
thank
Honor
you, thank
Society
you.
member, won the Character Matters Award in 2019, named 2022 Better Business Bureau Ethical Athlete Award. Girl, tell me about what like strives you to be as excellent you are in academics.
Well, thank you first for
Of
everything.
course.
Definitely did your research. One thing I'll say, my biggest motivation is my mom because she's always accomplished many great things, whether it was in college, in high school, and even after college. And because she's a doctor, so like just seeing that,
Oh, I love
seeing
that.
her do that, thank you, seeing her do that as a single mom, it was just like it showed me that I can really do anything, and I always wanted to make a positive impact on those around me, and all the things like you named. When people see me doing it, especially a young Black woman, it's like, okay, if she's doing that, fighting through adversity for this, and just being successful in my community, that they know that they can do it too. And
Yeah.
she's always just raised me to be ethical, keep my morals, keep my values, and just have a kind spirit that wants to give to others. So, and I just had that since I was little, and I didn't really know what it was when I was younger. But now growing up, like I understand the concept of giving back to your community and just always being truthful, being honest, being respectful. So those values have just grown into me as I've grown up, and I just want to keep doing the same thing. And just people when they see people like me doing great things, they want to follow it, and that's just a generational thing that I would like to continue and foster.
I love that. So like I'm already knowing you're making a big impact on at Albany State. So like how would you rate your overall experience at Albany State like as a student? Give me a student first. Like 1 out of 10, like first number that comes to your brain, what could you rate Albany State as a student?
Like as far as like campus life or the
General,
impact I'm
general,
giving.
in general, like the academics, the professors, the social life, getting to know people, like just as a student, like if you didn't have the athlete portion, how would you rate your experience as a student at Albany State?
I'll give it an 8 out of 10,
Okay.
and not for any negative reason, but just like no environment is perfect. And the reason I give it an 8 out of 10, mainly one because I'm from Phoenix, so it's a very big city, and Albany's a very small city. So that's just a very big adjustment for me, and it still is, to be honest. But we have a lot of small cities around, like Tallahassee, so we can go to FAMU. We have Atlanta, a few hours away. You have Columbus, Fort Valley, things like that. So like, you have a lot of cities nearby to go to, but it's just a little hard. Like when you're used to going anywhere at home and then you go to school and it's like, okay, I don't have as much to do. But it's a learning experience and it's a growing experience and also just a mindset shift. But the campus life is very fun. I Being an athlete is fun because everyone, they know you and they support you, and like they
Yeah.
really go hard for you. Like when I tell you, if the referees make a call and they don't like it and it's against me, like, or if I get like a yellow card or something, they'll be like, oh no, no, like the whole crowd's going crazy, and like you have to calm them down and tell them like, okay, no, I did deserve that, or like, no, I did like fumble the ball on that play, but like it's just like they really love you at the school. Even my professors come out and support. My athletic director, they all come out and support, and it just really feels like home. My professors help me also just being an athlete and just understanding where I'm coming from, what I need from them, any time extensions or extra help, things like that. And then also just my staff members, they also just give me opportunities to be able to thrive on and outside of campus. So like for example, I attended the NCAA Career and Sports Forum at the headquarters last month, and like my athletic director, she will give me opportunities like, hey, sign up for this or sign up for that. And if you work with her and meet her in the middle, and then she'll keep sending you things, and that's how you get opportunities. That's how you network, and get further in your career and set you up for the future. And I just really love the campus overall, like just the people, the personalities. Like there's so many personalities, but then it's like everyone's the same in a sense. And I think our school spirit is very high. It could be biased, but just like the
No, I
energy at the
love
football.
that. I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
The energy at the
small
football
city.
games.
Yeah.
Yes. Like the
So like
tailgate.
how would you like
Oh,
rate
sorry.
your experience as an athlete? Like I'm already knowing like the atmosphere, like you're saying, it's like a small city, so everybody's there, everybody's supporting you. So like what would you rate your experience as an athlete? Like tell me a little bit about that.
I will give it a 9 out of 10, and only a takeaway at one point because the football team, like, they get all the love. People come to their games. Basketball team, people come to all their games. I'm like, man, y'all
Yeah.
could, like, people do come to our games, but it's just like, it feels like it takes a little bit more to pull them to the volleyball games. And, like, even, like, to some of the other women's sports as well. But that's just, like, a general thing, not really just, like, an ASU thing. Like, soccer, women's basketball, tennis, and volleyball. Like, we all don't get as many people watching our games. They still support. They just don't always come to watch.
Yeah.
So, but that's just something we have to fix in the world in general with just sports across the nation. So that's understandable. But I love it. Like, people, they'll be like, oh, you play volleyball? Like, here you can have this. Like, you get, the free gear that you get, like, you just being an athlete. I got so many free shirts there. I was just like, people ask me, like, you go to the bookstore? I'm like, no, I'm just an athlete. Like, I just get free shirts, or like free gear. People, they just want to get to talk to you. They want to get to know you. They think it's so cool that you play a sport in college because, everyone doesn't get to play a sport in college. Everyone doesn't get the opportunity. So I think it's so cool. They just, want to come and support, take pictures after games. Like, I just think it's so cool. And it's just very loving that
Yeah.
everyone at the school just always wants to just be involved and not just watch, but they actually want to be involved and get to know us and just know who we are outside of sports.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of like being an athlete, in college and you're majoring in exercise science and
Mm-hmm.
minoring in psych, how have you been like able to balance academics with your athletics? Like, how has that process been for you?
Well, one thing that makes it easy since I am a healthcare major or health science, a lot of my classes are in the gym. So, like, I'll just go to class and then like go to practice after. So, like, it's like a one-stop shop for me. But also we get priority over our schedules, like dorms and all that. So I get to make my schedule around practice and like around games to make sure that I can not be rushing like from practice to class or vice versa. And then I also just really utilize the hours that we're either not traveling or not in practice or not in weight, things like that. Because that's something I really had to work on was just if I have a free time for an hour, not just laying down on TikTok, but like maybe studying for a test or using that to get one or two assignments done, or sometimes I'll even like go sit in the locker room and just before practice spend 2 hours to do my work instead of like being on the yard or being in the calf. Because like you're there to graduate, you're there
Sometimes
to
you have
have fun too.
priorities.
Yeah, so
Priorities.
I'll sit or like on the bus. Like, I talk with my teammates, we talk, laugh, play games. But sometimes if it's a really long ride, okay, I'll talk with y'all for an hour or 2 hours and then spend the other 3-4 hours doing my work. Or instead of just laying down and not even taking a nap, just do my work and then we'll go to the hotel and we'll sleep then. So just really prioritizing and using all hours of my day and not wasting as much time as I can and used to.
Okay, so do you think like playing for an HBCU has made college sports easier or harder for you?
I think it's made it easier because I am a little shorter. So, like, a lot of Power Five schools, they want the tall girls who can be at the net, or for my position, they want you to be able to play front row if necessary, which, like, even if, like, I can jump, but that doesn't matter because it takes me longer to get that high in the air because, I have to come from so far down. So it's like
Right, right.
they want people who are already tall who can just, do a little quick, like, okay, a little quick jump and get there. So I think it's made it easier because HBCUs really look for us and they want to recruit us. They want us to represent their university. So, like, they take away factors like height. Um, Sometimes they even help you with your academics if your GPA is lower with giving you some more assistance or maybe splitting your scholarship like that so you don't have to worry as much about maintaining a higher GPA.
Yeah.
And just really making sure that you'll know that you're understood and heard at their school versus like a PWI where you're just a statistic and you're a smaller percentage of a larger group versus an HBCU. It's normally a smaller amount of people, and the people that look like you are a lot more larger in numbers than at a PWI.
I love that. So as a rising junior, you're halfway through your college career. I love that for
Mm-hmm.
you. How do you feel about life after college? Like, what are your plans for after college?
I feel very excited actually about life after college. Like, obviously, I want to enjoy my last few years playing because I don't really plan on going pro. So I want to enjoy my last few years. But I am really excited about life after college, and I want to, as I said earlier, go into physical therapy and sports psych, and just I feel like being an athlete, I've already gotten some experience with just doing modalities and different recovery techniques on my teammates or just other sports teams at my school. So I've gotten the experience, and I'm just really excited to just help people. So it's really not like, oh, I'm scared to like get into the field. Only thing I'm scared for really just like paying bills, because that just, inflation. I don't want to deal
I
with
don't
that.
think anybody wants to
But
pay bills, girl.
yeah, but I'm really excited to just get into my field, start making an impact on my community, and just working with others, because a lot of my friends that I've met at different leadership cohorts that I've done, they tell me the ideas that they have, and it's just really similar, where we all want to help Black communities specifically, and just help to uplift us and go in the communities where they need it the most. And I'm just ready to see the change happen, because it's just like every time I turn around, it's always like another issue, but no one really wants to dig deep to see how they can fix the issue and just bring people around them to help support them and just get it done. So I'm just ready to
Yeah,
get there and get it done, or get it started at least.
I love that. So, do you feel that you found your identity, but like beyond your sport? Like, do you know who you are beyond volleyball?
Yes, I do. I feel like I found that younger, because just like all the community service Mama had me doing, that's like one of my main passions is community service, and doing that through sports and mental health. And I also found it when I got injured myself my senior year of high school. And like that was my first real injury. I had surgery on my shoulder when I tore my labrum. So I was out for 3-4 months, and I missed my entire senior season except for 2 or 3 games. So like,
Wow.
I really had nothing to do for almost the whole fall semester of my last year of high school. So I was just like, okay, like I need to find something to do so I don't like lose myself in this process. And even though like I was very sad during that time, but I was like, I'm not gonna just sit here and be sad. Like I'm gonna find something to do, find out what I like, and just really hone in on what I want to do after college, because this is an introduction to how it will feel when volleyball is gone completely and not just momentarily. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I was like, I can't feel like this in 4 more years. So I
So,
was like, I
like,
need to.
with people struggling to find their identity, like, what's your advice, like, outside of sports? Because I know me, like, even though I've graduated, I've got my bachelor's, I have my plan to go get my master's and everything, but I'm a COVID
Hmm.
baby, so I have a fifth year to play again. But, like, what advice would you give people that actually struggle with their identity outside of their sport? Like, what advice could you give?
I would say you can use things that you do with your teammates, like when you like go out and just go to the park or go to the fair, do things like that, but make a list of things you like doing with your teammates and see how you can make an impact on others with that list. Because like, for example, going to the park, people might think like, oh, you're just getting on the swing, or you're just going around on slides, but you can see like, okay, maybe this isn't as sanitary as it needs to be, or maybe this can be a way to relieve some stress from kids during classes, things like that. So you can see like, how can we turn something that we look at as fun into something that can help different generations to come afterwards. And
I
just
love
doing
that.
that. Thank you. Just doing that. And then also outside of your sport, find 3 to 5 things that you like that aren't related to sports, like either yours specifically or just sports in general. So you can see like, outside of athletics, what do I really like to do? What really just makes me happy? Find what makes you smile, and just sometimes even go around with your friends, like see, okay, what do they do every day? Or just like, do service with them one day, or maybe go and try to shadow with somebody that you networked with in the past. Like, just really do things
Yeah.
to see what you like outside of sports. And maybe it might be something different, it might be something you've already done. So,
Yeah, like get out your comfort zone a little bit,
yes,
like experience something that you've never experienced before. But
yes.
like, so before I get to the last question, is there anything
Okay.
else you want to share about your story or your experience as a student athlete at Albany State? Like something that you think like will stick to someone listening to this podcast?
Yes. So, I'll say 2 things, if is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So the first thing is, like I was mentioning earlier, when you see an issue, really dig deep and try to see how you can solve it or be the change that you want to see. For example, in my community, I've created 4 community service projects, but
Wow.
2 specifically that I've done was Jeans for Teens, and another one was the COVID meal relief in 2020. And the Jeans for Teens was, my mom told me, she said, look in homeless shelters of teenagers and look to see what they want the most. And I found out that it was a pair of jeans. So I was like, okay, teens in homeless shelters want jeans the most. And here I am going to the mall and just buying 5 pairs just because, like, I have the privilege to be able to do that. Other people don't have the privilege to be able to do that. So it's like, if you see an issue like that, instead of buying 5 for myself, okay, like I'll buy 2 for myself and then give away the other 3, and then encourage my friends to do that with me. So I did that, and I collected over 400 pairs with
Oh,
throughout the entire United States, and had people who were just helping me out, sending it to shelters in my name, things like that. So that's an example of just like, when you see a need, be the change for it. Don't just sit around and be like, okay, well, like maybe somebody else will get to it. Like, you be the person to get to it. And the other one was the COVID meal relief. And this is also dealing with homelessness, because that is like one of our biggest issues in the world. And like, when COVID hit, a lot of people lost jobs, they lost their homes, they lost just, like everything that they had known for the previous years. So
yeah.
I would go around just giving them like non-perishable items, like food that didn't need to be refrigerated, that didn't have like peanuts, dairy, things like that. So, and just giving that to them, giving them clothes, socks for like hot pavement. And depending on other cities, I would have my friends like give blankets, things like that. So just because we're walking around all day, and we see things, we see people on the side of the streets, we see people who need medical attention, we see all these things, but we just pass by them. We don't sit there and try to stop and think, or come back to those people days later and say like, what do you need? Or just try to critically think on our own, like, what do you need? Like, you just really have to think outside the box sometimes, and just do that. And the second piece of advice that I would give is, just really creating opportunities from what you get from your university, because especially HBCUs, they really look out for us, and they give you opportunities, but you have to meet them in the middle, and they're not just going to do everything for you. So like, for example, like I was mentioning earlier about my opportunities that my athletic director will give me, just if you read your email, they give you, like, I got one to attend the NCAA Korean Sports Forum, which was 4 days in Indiana, just talking about like leadership, growth and development, things like that. And then I also was a speaker at the Black Student Athlete Summit in Los Angeles, California, a couple months ago, and I spoke on how to recruit more of us, the HBCU student athletes, into the summit. And no one gave me that opportunity. I just reached out and asked, can I speak on this? So, like, just put yourself out there, advocate for yourself and what you're passionate about, and people will in return support you and want to help you reach that goal. And then another thing I did was be a sports medicine aide for Peyton and Eli Manning from the NFL. And that was something like, they just emailed me. I applied to it, and then, you get it. And the last thing I did was Thurgood Marshall College Fund, the DEF CON program.
Wow.
Another That was another 4 day leadership cohort talking about growth and development. We had a social networking fair, and we just really got to talk about what we want to do in our life, learn about entrepreneurship skills, finance, things like that, and just really know how to set ourselves up after college. And basically, sorry, that was like a really long explanation, but I just want to explain like a little bit of what I've done. But I was saying all that to say, like, that all comes with networking opportunities, and sharpening your skills. But it comes from my institution and them just giving me opportunities, and me meeting them in the middle and wanting to work with them. So that way, like, okay, they're trying to give me this to benefit me, and I'm making the school look good and helping us out to give us more opportunities in the future to benefit the school. It's like a vice versa effect. So
Yeah, I
that
was
would
just
be
going to
that would,
comment on your networking skill. Like, I feel as though you're the type of person that, like, once you draw someone in, they're like stuck. And like, speaking of networks, our last question is presented in like by our sponsored Cricket Wireless. So shout out to Cricket, a proud
shout
supporter
out
of
cricket.
HBCU culture and community. We love our Cricket Wireless. We love you guys. So, how has going to an HBCU influenced the person you are today? I love this question.
I do too. I love this question as well. I'll say it has influenced me in a few ways. The first being just knowing how to remain optimistic and learn to adjust. Because as you know, going to an HBCU, sometimes we don't have as many resources,
Girl, come
but
on. Come on now.
so, especially as both being athletes, you know how that goes. Sometimes, like, you might run out of tape, run out of some pre-wrap, and,
No
you need that.
water, but
Yeah, no water, no ice, no Gatorade, and you gotta just, you gotta wrap that ankle before the game, before practice. You still gotta stay hydrated. So, just really, even not being an athlete, just like a resources that we have sometimes within the school with our, like textbooks, materials, things like that. You have to learn how to adjust and still get the job done, still get that A or B, whatever it is in the class
yeah.
that you're doing, and but know in the process how to advocate for yourself and what you need, while still being in the midst of being successful at your university, to show them like, okay, even though we don't have this, we're still successful, but imagine what we could do if we do have this. So things like that. And then also more on what I just spoke on earlier, which was leaning on your community and just knowing like it's okay to ask for help. I know people say that all the time, but I think sometimes we skip over how true that really is. When you're on a campus where people just look like you all day, it's like, okay, some people like they really understand our struggle as Black women and Black individuals in general, what we go through, things like that, and just knowing how to ask for help. Also, just sharpening your networking skills. That's something that I've had a lot of practice with at my institution, and especially with active alumni, because like they'll come onto your campus, they want to pour back into the school. They want to give us money. Like, a lot of scholarships come from alumni. People don't realize. And sometimes they'll give you like personal scholarships if they know you or your story well enough. They'll be like, okay, I want to fund you personally instead of just giving it to the school. So just making those connections with them and just with your school in general, your faculty, staff, things like that, because they're going to be the ones to write you letters of recommendation, help get you your foot into the door for jobs, things like that. Get you internships, like whatever you may need. Sometimes it comes directly from them or by them just speaking your name into a room that you're not even in, that you don't even know that they're in. So just making those connections early on. And especially also learning the importance of self-advocacy being an HBCU, because when you're on campus, most of the time it's like you and say like 4,000 or 5,000 others that look like me, which will be a Black woman or a Black male. But then you go to say another city or another campus, and now you're number 1 out of 5 of Black individuals on that campus in a room of say 50, 100, 200, however many people. And it's like you have to know that, one, you belong in that room. Two, you have to really advocate for yourself, what you're feeling, what you're going through as a Black individual, the things that you've experienced being Black in a society, things like that, because people don't always understand where you're coming from, and you have to just know how to advocate for yourself in a way that's respectful, but you still get your point
Yeah,
across, and don't be shy about it. Be confident in
I
standing your
love that.
truth. And then,
So
thank
I
you.
was, no,
Oh,
you're
sorry, go
fine. I
ahead.
was just saying thanks for like joining me and sharing your experiences with us, Mimi, because like some people that have been in HBCUs even longer than you like still don't understand those networking skills, still don't know or even
Mm-hmm.
knowledgeable about the fact that you can get those that support from the community and that support from your own schools. But I just want to thank you, and like your story was good, and I cannot wait to run it back and listen to it again. Listeners, thanks for tuning in. We've got tons more great guests, and we'll continue talking about HBCUs from all angles. So make sure you rate, review, and subscribe so you don't miss out on more Echoes of the Yard. Thank you so much, Mimi.
Yes, thank you, Kendyl, and thank you, Cricket, for having me. I really enjoyed talking to
Yeah,
you today, and best of luck with your
thank
fifth
you. Best of
year.
luck to you.